Welcome still the VOP this morning team. But as the case may be, this is time for the newspaper review. I am Fina Chuku. We have with us on the studio Barrister Darlington Agomo, VOP TV in-house analyst. And we'll also be touching base in Benin, where we have Comrade Osage Amadin standing by also to join the newspaper review. Chukuma.
I am Chukuma Okoro. Thanks for joining us again.
Without wasting much time, let's start off from the Guardian newspaper. And the banner headline on the cover page of the Guardian newspaper today reads, 2.37 trillion naira data expenses compete with food, others as Nigerians ration usage. The window headlines are, NPA debunks multi-billion naira corruption allegation. ASU raises concern over corruption, weak institution tax FG. You are future presidents, but fight corruption first, Obi tells African youth. The stories are on page 3, respectively. Then we have Serap 6 CBN's disclosure on release fund to LGA's Rivers Council. Report highlights 2024 as hottest in Africa, warns of climate impact. Another bold headline on the cover page of the Guardian newspaper today reads, Defections. Wike joins PDP governors meeting in last-ditch effort to save party. The story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Dame Jonathan endorses Tinubu for 2027 poll. Interestingly, LG poll protests trail APC primaries over alleged imposition of candidates. The story is on page 5. PDP accuses Imo government of wasting 2.1 billion naira on pilgrimage. The story is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Now, a quick run also on the cover page of the Punch before we start the analysis proper. Now, we have the Punch newspaper. The main headlines are, PDP installs new BOT members as governor's party direction. FG makes U-turn, endorses Senate Security Summit. Why Jonathan won't run against Tinubu in 2027? Patience. The story is on page 9 and 2 and 7, respectively. Now, the banner headline on the cover page of the Punch newspaper today, Rivers emergency rule, FG tops ex-AGF, 11 sons as Supreme Court battle looms. Supreme Court may release hearing date today. PDP governor's legal team prepares as AGF says governor's forum lacks locus standi. Naka under fire after plane strikes antelope on taxiway. Aidatiwa Makinde Bamidele salutes Afenifera leader Fasoranti at 99. FG states add 57 trillion naira to debt in 18 months. Those are the stories you'll find on the cover page of the Punch newspaper.
Okay, I think we should also take more newspapers online. And we'll start with the Blueprint newspaper with the window headline, Nigeria first policy will lead to job creation, economic growth. That's coming from LCCI. I'll take that again. Nigeria first policy will lead to job creation, economic growth, LCCI. And more stories there. Nigeria leads to medium HDI in 2025. That's coming from Alfred Rewane. Fidelity Bank grows profit by 167.8% in Q1 of 2025. And in the world of sports, under 20 AFCON, Senegal will be tough. That's coming from Zubairu. And the big story here, 2025 UTME mass failure, indicative of system collapse. That's coming from experts. And with the riders, parents, teachers differ over social media influence. Innovations working, exam malpractices, our headache. That is coming from JAMP. Professors Forum fingers poor preparation infrastructure. Troops come Kainji Park, arrest 12 Mahmuda terrorists. And I won't take Blueprint Award for granted. That's coming from Governor Rada. And most stories there. 2027, I have no villa ambition. It's my turn to campaign for Oluremi Tinubu. That is coming from Patience Jonathan, former President Goodluck Jonathan's wife. And dispatch driver, truck assistant crushed to death in Lagos. Quite a sad one. Iran-bound smuggler nabbed with 2.523 kg cocaine at Port Harcourt Airport. Nigeria records 119,000 data breaches in Q1 2025, despite global decline. And 2025 had, at the bottom strip, 1,000 273 KB pilgrims arrive Medina. That's from the Blueprint newspaper. Now let's look at the First News. First News newspaper. Yes. Beside the nameplate, you have Fubara and Place return to office amid suspension. My spirit has left there. And window headlines. Disclose local government reverse payments details of face legal action. Serap tells CBN. Now, Keyamo, Nigerian airports below global standards. MMIA to undergo major upgrade. And, okay, Army arrests 12 suspected Mahmuda terrorists in Kwara. And court orders EACC to return $20,000 taken as bribe from CleanSap CEO. Now, the big story. Tears, trauma as 78 Nigerian girls return from sex camps in Côte d'Ivoire. And more stories there. God said Fubara must be restored. That's coming from Bishop Ekana as he urges Tinubu as service for Pa Edwin Clark. Air Peace aircraft hits Antelope in Abuja, ground flight. Arsenal show spirit in Anfield comeback. That's all from the First News newspaper. Fina?
And then the one I would like, for example, the one I wanted to talk about is the defections. Wike joins PDP governors meeting in last ditch. This is more like an effort to save the party from crumbling. So what some persons have come up to say, it's more like the party is already in ICU, looking for a way for it to be resuscitated. Yes. But now Wike, the question is, what is Wike? I don't understand. Is Wike a PDP member?
Okay.
Working for APC? Isn't that more like an anti-party activities? What is really happening?
Okay.
Is he really there to resuscitate the party? Are we seeing him going there to disintegrate the governors or the party further?
Anyway, the analyst there here will tell us all of that. Well, we'll be joined by Mr. Dele Fanimore. Dele is a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. Good morning, Dele, and thanks for joining us.
Well, and Fina and Barrister.
Yeah, okay.
You're welcome.
But you know, it's not a question and answer section. This is more like an analyst.
Yes.
We are looking at these headlines made it to the cover page of the National Daily. My interest is on this particular one. Wike is a PDP member, right?
No, but you
said he
asked
is.
Questions. Or are you asking questions?
It's more like a
let me provide an answer to it.
Okay.
It might sound comical, but that is the truth. You know, a mother does not abandon his child. Once upon a time, Wike was the mother, and he played the mother hen with 50 billion to resuscitate that ailing child. Now, it appears that child has sickle cell anemia. And you know, a sickle cell anemia patient would have to be nurtured every time. Now, there is hemorrhage, and Wike will not want that child to die. So maybe that's why he has temporarily relocated to PDP, to resuscitate it to the point that it will be out of ICU. Yes. That does not mean that that child will still not suffer some form of ailment or the other.
Using your analogy now, we have bone marrow transplant. So you think that is what he is there now to do?
And you are not too sure. You are not too sure if it is a leukemia the child has.
At what point can one say that you're committing a political sin? Because this is what we actually see playing out in Nigeria, as the case may be.
No, Fina, to be very clear, Wike is in the PDP.
He's in the PDP.
Yes,
he's working for APC.
Yes, but he took permission from the National Working Committee and NEC of PDP
before joining APC.
Yeah.
No. What happened is this. What Wike is trying to do now is not actually to save the PDP.
No, Barrister, when you say no, I thought you wanted to fault the fact that he took permission from NEC and NWC of PDP to work for APC government. Yeah. Did he or did he not?
He did.
He wrote a letter.
Which they approved. Requesting.
Hold on.
Okay.
Did that letter say that, look, when I enter APC, I'm going to fight PDP.
Is he fighting PDP?
I'm going to destroy PDP.
Is he destroying PDP?
I will not allow my governor to work. I'm going to do anti-party activities. Did he tell them that? And they say, go ahead.
Barrister, when you say anti-party activity, a lot of people will want to understand what you mean by Wike committing anti-party activity.
Where is the imprimatur of Wike in anti-party activities? It's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
And because if they are sure that this man has committed anti-party activities, is it that Wike is now a behemoth?
No.
And it's bigger
But
than
just
the
talk about the
party.
50 billion that was being invested to sustain the
happened
party. Who is going to pay him the money? If you want to look at it that way.
This man, no, he has already get more than that money. This man went to court and got an injunction that nobody should shut him out of PDP for anything. Is there? That's why PDP have been careful.
And but injunction is a temporary thing.
Is it perpetual? It has not been nobody has gone to court to challenge it.
That is the point.
So is it Wike's fault that nobody has gone to court to challenge it?
So again,
the court does not give you what you don't ask for.
Didn't ask for.
Again, this thing that he went to PDP meeting, no, he didn't go there to save PDP. That is the only thing.
What if he has repented?
No, he have not. He will never repent.
No, when you say repent from what? Repent from what?
That he wants to come back wholesale to the house.
It's not possible because 2027 is still ahead.
But if you check Wike and his statement thus far, I recall he said something about how he's going to cause fire to burn in the states elected under the PDP as a platform. If the governors in the state have
he was simply protecting his political empire. That doesn't mean that he was working against PDP governors.
How can he protect his political empire when he is also the one talking about causing fire to burn in those states?
PDP governors, stay in your state, leave my state for me.
What empire is he
holding forth?
Which state is he holding forth?
River State.
River State is Wike's state.
No,
who is the governor
I
of
want
River
us to
State?
be very clear on something. I am not supporting what Wike did, but I'm just telling you what his actions are.
No.
You know, so all those things, do they amount to anti-party activities?
It is more than that.
How?
It is evil. When you are
who should even be charged with anti-party activities? Wike or Fubara? Fubara left PDP, went to APP to contest local government elections.
Hold on.
And he won wholesale.
Hold on. What we are saying here is that Wike, all the problem of River State, you and I know who is causing it. Is that proper? It's not a Wike that is causing the...
Who else? But within the context of politics, you cannot clearly say that it's Wike is the sole reason behind.
These 27 lawmakers, that is the problem of River State. Whom are they working for? Whom are they acting on?
It is not clear and not known to most people.
No.
When those 27 lawmakers said we are defecting from PDP to APC, did Wike leave PDP with them?
No, he instigated them.
Did they say we are leaving because Wike...
So the same way Fubara instigated 23 local government chairmen to move from PDP to APP.
He did not instigate them from what we heard. We heard that PDP boycotted the election. PDP boycotted the election saying that they are not going to be part of it, and people took over.
That was political expediency.
Okay. So emotional expediency is what Wike is doing.
Let's get comrade Amadi Sage join the newspaper review. Good to have you again, comrade. Welcome to newspaper review today. Let's get your reaction. We'd like you to unmute your device, then we'll get your reaction. You can react to any of the stories, but we're looking at defection. Wike joining PDP governors meeting and last dish effort to save the party. Comrade Madin, can you hear us? No, Barrister, if you're saying this is more like, a political party expediency, then what do you now call that of or the activities of Wike now? Because if we're here holding bridge for Fubara, for what happened with the 23 local government chairman, that we see clearly what played out in River State. Then why won't you also hold bridge for Wike for demanding we could record that there was something that happened though. There was an agreement that was signed. There was a father-son, a boss-servant relationship. Somebody bought forms for these people in a particular state. Nobody said anything about that when the forms were being bought. And at the end of the day, we're now hearing that what you agree to do, you can no longer do it. And we know how it can be when someone reneges on
all those things are selfish interests. He was pursuing selfish interests. And I am telling you here that it will not help our democracy. In fact, that particular action is evil on its own.
Which action, Barrister?
The action of Wike by buying form and all that. With whose money? Even the 50 billion that they use save a PDP.
What about the people that accepted the forms? Are they not working also in selfish interest? Why accept a free form when you know you're not that or you're not even qualified to be there, if I'm to use that word in the first
As a matter of fact, before you are even given free form, quote and unquote free form, because that form was paid for.
There are terms and conditions.
There were terms and conditions.
Terms and conditions.
And besides, if you are saying the person that is offering is greedy and evil, what about the person that knew that he was going into fire and he decided to plunge into fire? So what? That one is innocent.
They were not told any terms.
But is that
you can't say that.
We don't have any proof now.
But is that thing?
Yes.
So, but
Do you have proof that he paid for their form?
It could have been a gift from the governor.
Oh,
Okay.
a gift.
Yeah.
Just like the NBA gift that happened some time ago.
No, that one is the convention. Leave that one.
Okay, that's a convention. But gifts are gifts, Barrister.
So what I'm saying is that this thing that Wike did in Rivers, it cannot help our democracy. Cure ED.
What Fubara did in Rivers cannot help our democracy, because he knew Fubara had worked with Wike for 8 years, and he knew he kept quiet for 8 years when he was helping Wike to declare 13 billion monthly, even when the IGR was 28. Is it not culpable? You are a lawyer, barrister, you know it, that at that time he was culpable. Because he was the accountant general.
Have you heard that Fubara said that he's not interested in going back to work?
Exactly.
I heard it this morning. He knows that the terms and conditions, the latest terms and conditions will make him go back deeper into abyss.
And he says people that are supporting me, people that are criticizing the state of emergency, you have to be careful, because I don't want you to do anything that will affect the peace or torpedo the peace in Rivers State. So what does that clearly tell you?
You see, what that told me, since he went to London to meet with Tinubu, I knew that there was a paper thrown in his face.
Okay.
And that paper, I'm sure he came back and he called his henchmen to sit with him and analyze. And he knew that with this paper, if I had to go with this paper, he will sink deeper, because he will be caught up after his first tenure, because he's not likely to get second tenure. He will be caught up to the extent that the next person that is coming to Rivers State will probe him and he will go to jail. So he knew all this, and that's why he's giving that soundbite that he is no longer interested, because he knew what he walked into. How could somebody who has spent 8 years with his principal, and they were sharing, they were looting, they are doing everything conceivable, suddenly you agreed that my intention is to just become governor? If I were to be Wike, Fubara, with all that he has benefited from Rivers State, and somebody is giving me that kind of condition, and I know that I cannot fly with that condition, I will not take it. I say, go give it to anybody other person.
But politics, they say, is a game of interest. Not talking about
now, you see, the point is the looker.
The thing is that
you understand that he knew his principal had access to. He also wants to up his own game. He has not bought a private jet. He wants to own a private jet. He has not bought houses in the US and London. He wants to buy. Because all the while, when he was Secretary General, he was taking crumbs. So now he wants to hold the cow by the head and hold the knife. And that's why everything conceivable that is making him get to that position, he was ready to sign off his life.
Will PDP ever be saved as a point in time where we have the likes of Dame Jonathan endorsing Tinubu for 2027 election?
You see,
are we really going to see PDP now come back again as as a big opposition party to APC?
PDP has never been an opposition party.
But they have been vocal, they've been talking.
Who are the people PDP that have been vocal?
Have been in serious opposition.
If you want to talk about opposition today in Nigerian politics, you talk about Labour Party.
Atiku have not been quiet. PDP have been talking.
Listen,
Atiku have been talking and all that.
Atiku's voice has been feeble, because he also know that he carries a lot of bag.
No, Jelle, I think that I think the thing is that Atiku has been quite vocal at the personal level, not for PDP.
Exactly.
And Obi has been quite vocal at the personal level, not for Labour Party.
Yes, not for Labour Party.
So clearly what we see is
what I'm saying
an opposition.
But
Obi will come and say this is not the right thing, and he will give references and also profile solution. Show me one solution as Atiku mentioned since he had been criticizing this government.
No, Atiku has been preferring solutions.
Just mention about two.
He has been preferring solutions.
No, I am not contesting that, but maybe because I didn't know, I want you to let me know.
Or maybe I don't know.
You see, let me say this.
You see, don't criticize for criticizing sake.
No, let me say this. You see, the way you are expecting too much from Atiku.
I'm not even expecting anything from Atiku.
No, the man has gone through a lot. Tinubu have strangulated his businesses. And the man is still nursing the injury he suffered.
Which business?
Atiku's businesses.
Which business?
You mean
it was Buhari that seized Intel.
That took Intel.
And they returned it to him.
Is that the only business?
Then show me one business that he has suffered loss.
I said no, you can't say that.
As Tinubu sealed the MT, his university in Adamawa.
No, then they allow barrister to.
Not sealing. You see, there are underground moves that you and I may not know. By the time they stop you having access to foreign exchange, you know, all the things you needed to import, they will not allow you to import it for your business. Is that not killing your business?
The barrister might have a point because at the point, P2B also cried out that, look, the government is after me, they are hounding me. They are even going after my business and my family and all of that. So these things might not be in the public.
No, that's what because when they say come out and say, you may not, you understand.
Peter will be, if you prod him further, when he raised that alarm, he could tell you, this is my line of business that I've been short of. This is the line of business that I've been short of. But let me tell you, Atiku, apart from Intel that is known to everybody and is interest in importation of mechanical generators and is empty. What other business other than
do you know how long it took come out to talk? You know how long it took him to come out to talk when we were having the back and forth in the oil industry?
Even last week he said that the cabal that they're still fighting.
They're still fighting.
Now, I recall Atiku when Atiku in an interview was asked if you they asked him, you've been quite vocal, are you not scared, you know, that the APC government will enjoy your business interest? They've already done all that they can do. That they took his business.
Let's take it back to Benin.
So that is the real issue here.
Barrister, let's get Comrade Osage Atlanta, they've rectified the audio. Let's get him back again, join the newspaper review. Good to have you again, Comrade.
Thank you. I want to, you know, analyst, I was hitting some Wike. I think we sometimes on all because one Wike wasn't the and the government helped arrange the house, no matter how it was. When the ships are done, you won't find anyone, just like the way it is now. The governor was short of red by he will give who get to do who get went to the asked them to demolish it. This did with duty or camel. Those were things that aggravated the state. However, praying for peace to reign. And thank God already meet and to reign. Those who are them to fight will be the one to fire at the end. Because most issue of Nigerian politicians is one interfere too much because they inherit the problem. Now on article analysis, as senior brothers said, Atiku is not interested in anybody apart from himself. Any you see Atiku is trying they just they've all accused you of going to stay. Be doing some videos. Let's just do as if you are antagonizing the opposition party, a viable one. What are those? Have you strengthened the party? Even the coalition talking about is your party.
We're having a glitch, you know, getting your audio clear is really what we're having as a challenge. Yeah, it's bad. So I guess you know, the technical crew will also attend to that, and then we'll have you also join the newspaper review proper. Now, Chukuma, you were pointing to a particular story you wanted us also to look at.
Yes, it's about Serap asking CBN to disclose how much they released to
local government
funds, you know, belonging to River State and all of that. Now the issue is this: the barrister Serap is asking the CBN to release the amount of money they sent to River State, you know, local government funds and FAC allocations to the sole administrator But it looks like the issue of sole administrator is died down now. Nobody is complaining about him again. You know?
After the committee, right?
Yes. The people of River State have come to terms to reality the fact that, look, they have a sole administrator and they just have to work with him. No. All those protests and all of that have died down. No, so
the people they should blame is the National Assembly, the House of Rep. Because they are the one who's supposed to take charge of that particular state assembly members and all that is good, concerning the budget approval and all that. But they are not doing that. They called the man to come and give account. He didn't answer them. And they just left it like that. We don't have a National Assembly, seriously. On what ground?
Sarah is asking the CBN to release it. What would National Assembly have done?
There are so many things they would have done if we have a National Assembly. I'm telling you.
Are you aware they invited the sole administrator and he had a session with them?
After that, they told him to come and give account of the money. He gave them a time and
now Serap is asking, should Serap ask the CBN or should Serap ask the sole administrator?
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying here. That it is even the House of Rep that should make such demand from the sole administrator. It's not the man that not the CBN, because the CBN have discharged its responsibility to the state because they were ordered to release the money. But if you go by the Supreme Court judgment, the Supreme Court did not say that the money should be given to a sole administrator. It was Tinubu that ordered the CBN to release that money. The Supreme Court did not say a sole administrator.
So who was the money supposed to be given to?
The Supreme Court may not expressly state this, but it is implied.
No, it's not implied.
So it is implied.
It's not implied.
And I will say, let me explain.
It's not because that's the Constitution in the first place.
Let me explain. If somebody is called a sole administrator in a particular establishment, he superintends over whatever is in that environment. And it is at his discretion that he determines what he will do in that particular locality. It's just like if in an establishment where you have board of directors and governing council, and then suddenly there is no governing council in that university, the VC takes charge until when a governing council is appointed. So
you're
already they have already. I'm not supporting. You see, when I analyze based on what I see and not just on emotional basis. What I'm saying is, it is not everything that will be stated in the judgment. But there are some things that are there. I'm not a lawyer, but I am schooled enough to understand that there are some things that are implied in a judgment that may not be expressly stated.
No, in this particular case, there are provisions on how to go about this thing. The Supreme Court would have said, instead of what is going on, a sole administration should be appointed. They didn't go that route.
Now we have another headline here, Barrister. Reverse emergency rule. FG taps ex-AGF. 11 sons as Supreme Court battle looms. Supreme Court may release hearing date today. PDP governor legal team prepares as AGF says government for lacks locus mandate. Now, if you're saying that the Supreme Court did not, tell or let us know or even tell the CBN to release the funds to sole administrator, how then would the sole administrator operate without funds in that state? You know, we have bills to pay.
That is why this case is going on, so that you will now know that have been issue. There shouldn't have been any sole administrator. They want to correct that abnormality in River State. There are so many other ways to go about it, and nobody will break any head.
But it was wrong to see the federal government go for 11 senior advocates of Nigeria. Are they scared? Are they jittery? But looks like the state of emergency team is not sitting well legally.
It cannot.
But they cannot just fold their arms and allow a free reign for the other party in the litigation.
Even the government.
Tell you what I'm saying. 11 senior advocates. That's a lot of money.
Even more will join. Oh, no. Some of them are pro bonus. No, it's not about money.
See, you want pro bono for federal government? It's the federal government that is tapping 11 senior advocates, including an ex-attorney general of the Federation.
But don't forget that Lateef Fagbemi is a senior advocate.
Okay, so they will do it for
you can call them.
The report didn't say it was pro bono.
The report don't say they were paid.
No, they have to be paid.
They have to be paid.
I said the report didn't say they were. It was a personal arrangement that we may not be privy to.
No, except when it's they are paid.
Let's also take it as a pro bono
and assume that you are not paid for what you're doing.
They just want to go and try.
Don't let's go to that route. I can tell you that you and I were doing it.
No, I mean here now.
Let's get the names of the people who are there. We have the federal government has assembled 10 senior advocates of Nigeria, led by a former Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Akin Olujinmi San, and 6 other lawyers to defend the emergency rule declaration in Rivers State and the suit filed by the 11 People's Democratic Party governors challenging the suspension of democratic rule in the oil-rich state. The other senior advocates include Professor Kainshola Ajayi, Jelili Owonikoko, Kehinde Ogunwojimi, Tijani Ghazali, Babatunde Obama, Olawale Fapunhunda, Olumide Ojumini, Akiyemi Olujimi, and Ademola Abimbola. Other lawyers in the team are Akisola Ogujimi, Oluwore Ilorin, Abdulwahab Abayomi, Mujid Balogun, Jiduche Ezi, and Ramat Tijani. Now, how can all these men that we've wrote out their names?
Let me give you insight into what names you have just read now.
Right?
These people, the Olujimi, the father,
yes,
apart from his children, they all came, and Lateef Fagbemi, they came from Afe Babala's chamber. They got their sonship in Afe Babala's chambers. So you can see that it's a collection of friends.
So it's
if they are paid or not,
it don't matter.
It doesn't.
All right.
You understand?
And Babalola is a friend of this government.
See now, what did the report say? The report said that the federal government has arranged.
Yes, that's what the report says. MG tabs ex-AGF, 11 sons, and Supreme Court binding.
If they are paid, they are entitled to it.
No, but the thing now is this.
But they may not have been paid, and they may
how many times have people worked for federal government pro bono?
No,
that is what I want to know. Have you worked for MG pro bono before?
Listen, Mr. Oko, did you even see the names?
The names are what are the names?
These are generational names. Olujimi, about 4 Olujimis.
Look at the names.
The father, who was former Attorney General of the Federation, on the instance of Afe Babalola.
I don't get like two people are working. People who work for federal government free.
It has not happened
what
before.
Are friends for? What are friends for? What are friends for?
Friends for federal government. Okay, friends for Tinubu. And friends against Fubara. Or friends for Wike.
Do you know the benefit that will come with it? Or has already come with it?
Oh, okay. It's no longer pro bono. Now it's now beneficial.
What are you talking about? They could have done. Do you know the brief that the federal government will give them where they will make their money?
Okay, so it's still pro bono. Barrister, there is nothing anybody will say to convince me.
People work for federal government for pro bonos. It has happened severally.
Barrister, can you cite one instance? Just one.
It's not all cases. Let me tell you what happened, Mr. Okoro. When a case like this comes up, some lawyers will volunteer.
Okay, so it becomes quid pro quo. No longer pro bono.
Listen now. When you volunteer,
Barrister, when
you volunteer,
maybe you can convince other people.
No, when you volunteer,
it's not here to convince you. It's to complete the viewer.
Let's move on.
When you volunteer,
and I'm not sure you can convince many viewers that
when you volunteer, it is not pro bonus. You are doing it on your own because you are interested in that particular matter. You want to prove a point there. In that case, you don't need the federal government to pay you. You are going
you are not telling me. I'm sure you are not telling me the meaning of pro bono.
What is the meaning of pro bono?
Appearing without taking money.
Is that what
he just told you now.
So all this while I didn't know the meaning of pro bono.
But I'm telling you how it is applied.
How does it apply?
When
we just move away from this idea? Nobody can convince me, and I'm sure
same way, you cannot convince me that they were paid.
That this 11 senior advocates will work for the federal government free of charge.
Let's get Amadi join the conversation. Let's know what he thinks about it.
Do you know how many people would have
now comrade, we're having a discussion here on this table. Some were saying that okay, we have a team saying that FG tabs tapping the ex-AGF and 11 sons happen to be on a pro bono case. Remember, this is about the River State emergency rule. And then we have another person on the camp saying that no, they were paid. So what do you have to say about this one? Let's get your opinion, please.
I know it's not a pro bono arrangement.
Oh.
They have to collect their money because this is a serious business. We are talking about the Oyo state government and the federal government who don't want a system that they have operated upon to be said not to be real, because it will be a suicide if the court tomorrow wakes up and say the state of emergency that were instituted is illegal. Because one, they also need people who are cool-headed, who can concentrate to really evaluate. And that's why you can see their case before the court to say on the issue of national asset that was already being invaded. A section of government was already opted out. They only have an executive section in Rivers. That completely means there's no government at all. Because the executive cannot operate without the judiciary. They can't operate without legislature. You can't be running a government without a budget. So the Supreme Court judgment came as a very simple thing that there was no government. If you were running a government without a budget or running a government without legislature, that wasn't a government. So there was no government there. So the Supreme Court already had given a verdict that there was no government in Rivers State. And because there will be no vacuum, the government, the federal government had to quickly put somebody there to hold on before government comes aboard. So that is why I'm still pitying these people to say, okay, go and put yourself together, let government come back. Otherwise, even if they say INEC should start conducting fresh election there, the federal government will still win the case in court. Let's not deceive ourselves, because the same Supreme Court said there was no government in Rivers State. From the current day, Fubara dismantled the legislature.
Where there's declaration of a state of emergency.
No,
and our constitution also did not say that people who are being elected should be suspended.
No, something is wrong here.
There was never a point in the constitution where it was being raised. If
you don't remove a governor, if you don't suspend the legislature, what is the essence of the state of emergency?
That's the thing.
What is the essence of a state of emergency? If you say because you want to militarize the region, what it means is that clearly the state is under state of emergency because the region has been militarized for over years now.
Even with the governor.
So if you have a state of emergency and you allow the governor to sit put, what is he doing there? Why did you remove him why did you not declare state of emergency in the first place?
The provisions are there.
The provision says that
on how to go about it. State of emergency is a state of anarchy when there is breakdown of law and order.
No, that is not true. That is not true.
No, that's the fact. You can't just wake up and declare state of emergency.
No, you can't just. But maybe you want to arrest. You also want to forestall a situation where there is total breakdown of law and order.
305. Was there
any? They want to go back. There was already breakdown of law and order in Rivers State when national assets were being dismantled, when the legislature took seat, the complex were dropped, then the governor was being threatened. You saw at the time the governor was moving, they were spraying him with water, the chief executive governor. There was already an anarchy. There were protests and counter-protests. You see government chairman going to dismantle property already built years that was immortalized. Wike was immortalized in some of the infrastructure of the Rivers State. You saw one of the local government chairman destroying those things that were built with money. Those were national assets that were being destroyed. So there was already a chaos, and the Supreme Court quickly assisted. But because Tinubu have always liked Fubara, he didn't want them to impeach Fubara. Because one, even the legislature, as at that time, they also have the power to even impeach Fubara because they have since been dismantled by Fubara. So the Supreme Court judgment came as a result that there was no government, there was no legislature based on their own
assessment. Comrade is saying that there's a total breakdown of law and order in Rivers State.
The Supreme Court, during their judgment, they gave guidelines on what to do, and the governor was following it holistically. Everybody saw it. How can you say there was breakdown of law and order? They made it impossible for the governor to present the budget. Is that his fault?
Barrister, the two gladiators ate at some point or the other.
No, it's the federal government that took the
Barrister.
They misinterpreted.
Let us get certain things clear. Okay. At some point, when that thing became heated, a statesman in the stature of a governor of a state shouldn't have issued out that statement that said, at the appropriate time, I'll tell you what to do. Listen,
leave all those things.
How can you leave it? When already there was a threat from the militants that they will make the state ungovernable. You shouldn't have said that. And so it was a wrong signal to government.
Good.
For instance, if this declaration of emergency had not taken place, if by now Rivers State is a bedlam, all of us will come here and begin to condemn the president for not taking proactive action.
Listen, I don't think so. If there was no ulterior motive, they would have encouraged Fubara to present the budget and then do other things that the Supreme Court said. But
exactly that was what the comrade from Benin said, that Tinubu so lost Fubara to the point that they had to use the state of emergency to save him. No,
please don't.
And there will be a bedlam.
There will be a bedlam in Rivers State.
If Tinubu had told those lawmakers, listen to the governor.
What if they disagreed?
Why would they disagree?
Why would they not disagree?
It's not possible. They wouldn't have done that. It's a question of telling Wike, go and tell your people they should do this, and he will do it. You and I know that.
When Fubara visited Villa, at the point the president was trying to reconcile, and at the point Fubara was leaving Villa, and he said, our father has spoken, I will go back and I will make sure this peace. Immediately he went back. 2 days after, he said that agreement or that reconciliation won't work because his people are not in concern. And at the end of the day, you saw some other militants.
Gentlemen, please, I'd like you to hold on to your line. Let's hold on to our line of thoughts.
We are looking at the Supreme Court judgment.
Whether pastors or present,
was the governor willing to implement them or not?
Now, Barrister, let's all hold on to our line of thought, because we're voice of the people, and it's our duty to make sure that the people's voice are being heard. And we have a correspondent, in the street of Lagos, to get opinion of people, of Nigerians reacting to headlines that made it to the cover page of the National Dailies today.
Good morning, Nigerians. It's a brand new week, and happy new week from all of us as Voice of the People TV. And it's the newspaper review session where we speak to Nigerians on what's trending from politics, business, economy, and sports. And right here, we are in the streets of Lagos, specifically at the Ikeja Under Bridge at the newspaper stand, where we'll be speaking to Nigerians to ask them what the matter is in the economy and what the few they can talk about in today's newspaper daily. And I have with me a Nigerian. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. You are Mr.
Ignatius Bison.
All right. So, Mr. Ignatius, so we saw you at the newspaper stand and you are reacting to this development that says FG ramps up domestic borrowing to 10.85 trillion naira. How do you think about it, sir?
I've just said it that, we don't supposed to be thinking about borrowing. Supposed to put on policies that will help us manage our economy well. Because if we can manage our resources very well, we will not think of borrowing again. So let's manage the economy very well. Put up the right people at the right place that will do the job. When we get all that, we don't need to borrow. We have everything. It's just management that's our problem. Thank you.
All right. So you were talking about management earlier. What were you saying about management? You were talking about effective management and maximization.
Yes, talking about effective management and doing the right thing at the right time, so that we develop from there, and even be a country that will borrow other people and not people borrowing from us. We borrow to people and not we borrowing from people.
All right, so in the next few days, the administration of President Bola Tinubu will be celebrating 2 years in office. How would you rate his administration so far? Very good, excellent, good, poor, fair, or there are areas of improvement?
Everybody will tell you that he's doing well. Every administration that comes in will tell you they've done well. But you see, in terms of security, it has been very poor. In terms of poverty, it has been very poor. But in terms of other things like taxation and other sectors, it's okay.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
Thank you.
Right, so you are Mr. Watson?
Mr. Vincent.
All right. So we have Mr. Vincent here who would also like to react to one of the major stories, especially the one in the Nation newspaper that says one party controversy, Ganduje Damagun clash. So what do you think about this story, sir?
One party system is one man ruling a nation, and who doesn't want to be criticized in any form? So when we have multiple party, one can criticize and air their own opinions. Thank you.
So you think in Nigeria multi-party system should be encouraged?
Yes, we are not in China. We are not in China, just that the chairman of APC said yes, one party is ruling in Nigeria, in China, that it should be encouraged, and then people should run to one party system. For me, at my own opinion, one party is one man ruling.
Thank you so much, sir. On a final note, the UK government has announced a clampdown for healthcare visa in for Nigerians and some African countries. Do you think this is fair for Nigerians and people that want to migrate abroad? And do you think it's the right step for Nigerian government to now begin to put things in place in the country?
Yes, immigrants has always been a place whereby one want to go for a greener path. So if it is being led, you can go to a nation whereby you are not being led, you still be poor. But whereby you are being led by the Holy Spirit to go and live a shore, yes, it will be better for the individual, not the government. Nigeria is a state of a nation whereby you labor for yourself. How many
ones that we can do for ourselves, we're always calling God to help us, you know. From one of the persons who are reacting to the topic, or one of the stories that made it to the cover page of the National Daily, is imploring the grace of the Holy Spirit. We've had the NSA also tell us that it's only God that will help Nigeria out of what we are having as a challenge. Gentlemen in the studio, time is already against us. That's always good. I'm always pursue time every day, every time. Now, Barry, we were saying something earlier, you know. Can you just land on that so that we'll call it a day?
Yes, the issue on the table concerning SERAP, asking CBN, like I said, the person they should be talking to is the sole administrator, because CBN is there to discharge its duty to the federating units and all that. If they are ordered to do something, they will do it. So go and ask the sole administrator, how much did you receive and how did you spend it? That's all.
Thank you so much. I guess this is a wonderful place to draw the curtain or anchor today's newspaper review. Interestingly, the man who happens to be at the helm of this whole issues, you know, the one who happens to be in the middle of the whole storm, Fubara himself, have come up to say that he is not desperate to return as Rivers State governor. And thank you, Comrade Osare Amadin, for being part of today's newspaper review. Thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate.
And just quickly, before I leave, I wanted to remind Chukuma what Adam said was, if you join APC, your sin will be forgiven. Not if you join APC, your sins against the government will be forgiven. So because those who left APC as at that time, they left in anger, and they offended the party in Edo.
But sins are forgiven. We have whether as Jonah swallow fish or not fish swallow Jonah, there is a swallow. There was a forgiveness of sin. Comrade Amadi, there's forgiveness of sin here also from there. Thank you so much, Barrister Darlington Agomo. Thank you, sincerely appreciate your participation in today's review. Thank you, Mr. Dele Fanimo. Mr. Dele Fanimo is a senior reporter. Thank you for being part of today's show.
All right, join me at 6 o'clock for on Political Lens. We are going to talk about Fubara, Rivers State, and Wike going to PDP meeting with the PDP governors.
And I'm Fina Okechukwu. Enjoy the rest of your day. Up next on Voice of the People television schedule is the Sports Republic show with Kizzy K. Do well to tune in.
I think